1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Hi, I'm John Malos. Welcome to this special edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Hey, we're glad to have you along. It's on the air, off the presses. We'll talk to a radio legend, been in the business for more than a half a century. No phone calls in this day. This is a special taped edition. We're back with our program in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you along on this On the Air, Off the Presses day. We're going to talk to a radio legend in just a moment. But first of all, I want to say that today's program is sponsored by the one and only Thomas Casagrande. He's a doctor. He's out there near Shaw and Blackstone. And you know what? If you have eye problems, you want to be fitted for glasses, he has more than 2,000 frames to choose from. We're proud that Dr. Thomas Casagrande is our sponsor on today's program on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. And by the way, you can watch us every Monday through Friday on Comcast channel 187 and 43.6 and now 13.1. You can catch the replay at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13.6, and 8 p.m. at 13.5. That would be Biz TV. As mentioned, on the air, off the presses, I want to talk to you about a man who's been in the radio business for more than a half a century. That's right, since 1964, when he walked into a radio station in San Luis Obispo at the age of 18. Exactly right. So now you can fast forward 51 years later, and Joe Collins is the host of The Joe Show on KOKO, that's 94.3 FM, right here in the city of Fresno. Want to hear what Joe sounds like? Here it is.
Hi, this is The Joe Show. Join me Saturdays from 4 to 6 for the Rhythm and Blues Chronicles. I went to a shrink the other day, just to check myself out. So I give him my $75 and we sit down and we talk for about an hour. And at the end of the hour, he hands me his prognosis that says that I'm basically pretty well adjusted, except that I might be a bit narcissistic. I go, narcissistic? Well, you know what? I'm probably one of the most selfless people I know. I mean, let me plug my friend Jay Weidenheimer's show. He's out every weekday afternoon from 4 to 7. And he plays great oldies but goodies. A lot like I do. Except when I play them, they just seem to sound better.
The Rhythm and Blues Chronicles.
Joe Collins and the R&B Chronicles, Saturday afternoons, 4 to 6 on Coco 94.
For a long time, he also owns his own ad agency, and one of his clients is our sponsor right here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Live in our studio right now is Joe Collins, a radio personality and a well-known one here in the Central Valley for a very long time, more than 40 years. No phone calls on this day, but we'll talk to Joe about the state of radio these days, and we'll talk about some of the local radio stations, what's going on there. We'll talk about his ad agency and what clients he has and some events coming up. But sorry to report, we have no phone calls today because it's a special tape program. Anyway, Dr. Thomas Casagrande, our sponsor today. We're back with our program in just a moment. At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
This fall, there is a place
Familiar and inviting. Timeless and warm. MeTV, a place all your own that you can call home.
Hi, honey, I'm home.
This fall, home is where you'll find me.
You mean to tell me that's all there is to it?
That's all.
MeTV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
Back here on the program, sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande, and Joe Collins is our guest. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Thank you,
good
John.
Good to see you, my friend.
It's good to finally meet you. I've got all your albums.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got the LPs, right?
Yes, the LPs, yes.
Oh, my God. Bringing up LPs. I mean, oh, goodness gracious sakes alive. When did that go out? What year did the LPs
actually,
go out?
LPs are still in. They've made a resounding return.
But not in radio. You don't play LPs on radio anymore.
Well, on my show, on the Rhythm and Blues Chronicles on Saturday, a lot of the stuff I play is on vinyl, and I've got a studio, so I've transferred a bunch of my vinyl to CD. I started out in 1956 when I was in the 5th grade buying my records on 78 RPMs. Yeah. I didn't start out with 45s. I started out with 78s. So I had like Little Richard, Fats Domino, a little bit of Elvis, Screamin' Jay Hawkins, Little Willie John. I had all that stuff on 78.
Yeah, if you had a record, if you had a 78 of Elvis back in the 50s or late or even early 60s, I mean, it was like gold.
Well, they phased
right?
the 78s out about maybe 1958.
You could still get them in the early 60s.
Well,
though.
but they weren't still issuing stuff on 78. There were still some 78s on the shelf that they hadn't sold, unused inventory. But
because I remember I had some in the early 60s.
But I switched to, because it was getting harder and harder to order the 78s.
Yeah.
So I switched to 45s like in the 6th grade in 1958.
Yeah, I remember those too, the 45s.
But I started out because my folks had a 78 turntable, and so that's what I bought.
Yeah, so you started. I mentioned you started out in the San Luis Obispo a long time ago.
KSLY AM in the last Sunday of January of 1964. I was a senior, and I did Sunday mornings from 10 to noon on KSLY AM, and then a few months later, I went over to the middle of the road station. That's the music that your parents listened to,
right?
You know, Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra and Peggy Lee, and I did the night show from 6 to midnight and ran Dodger baseball and did a jazz show, and then I went back to KSLY. And
now you ran the Dodger baseball broadcast, right?
Yeah.
For what station?
KVEC.
KVEC.
So I was listening. That's when Vin Scully and Jerry Doggett were doing the games.
Okay.
Yeah.
How well did you get to know Jerry Doggett?
Never met many of them, and Vin Scully.
You never met Vin Scully?
Never met him, but I played his broadcast every night, and so while I was playing the games, I was working in the production room trying to teach myself how to do production and sound better, because I couldn't really read very well. I used to fake my book reports in school because
how is that? How'd you get by?
I used to get C's on my book reports. So what I would do is I would read the first paragraph of each chapter and then write a report on it, and I get a C on it because I didn't enjoy reading. So come the summer of '64, I get my high school diploma, and I was getting B's and C's and a few A's, you know, and I tape recorded myself reading the news, and I was horrible. I had no comprehension skills at all. I could read. I mean, I could read like everybody else, but when it came to reading aloud, there was no. I would read a sentence and I couldn't tell you what I'd read.
So when you were on the radio, you just talked? You didn't have to read?
Well, I was talking from my heart, but when I had to read commercials and stuff, it sounded like I was reading. So in 3 months' time during the Dodger baseball games, I taught myself physically how to read and to sound believable. Yeah. And today I write commercials, and I read, but I write commercials and produce commercials. And this is a guy who was basically, I wasn't illiterate, but I had no comprehensive skills as far as my reading skills.
Did that change later on?
Oh,
you had to learn, right?
I taught myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'd already graduated from high school. I had a diploma. You know, but I taught myself in 3 months because I really wanted it.
Oh, yeah.
So I worked hard at it.
So right now you host a show called The Joe Show?
Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on Coco 94. 94.3 FM. It's owned by Art LeBeau, who I listened to as a teenager growing up in San Luis Obispo. He was on K-Day in Los Angeles. And so Art's been in radio since about 1947. And he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And so I do Monday through Friday, 6 to 9. And then Saturdays, I'm on from 4 to 6 with my own show, the Rhythm and Blues Chronicles, 4 to 6 in the afternoon.
On Coco?
On Coco, yeah.
So you do 6 days a week on Coco?
Yeah, but I'm only there 5 days a week. The 6th day is pre-recorded at my home studio.
I see. So you do 6 to 9, huh?
6 to 9 in the morning, yeah.
Every single day?
Monday through Friday.
My goodness, and it doesn't get old, does it?
Well, I'll be starting my 52nd year here about come February, and I still love it. I mean, I'm going to be 69 years old here in a couple of weeks, but I don't want to retire. I still have the passion.
Yeah, you still have the drive, the determination, the energy.
I don't have an alarm clock. I have an alarm clock, but I wake up before the alarm goes off, and so I turn it off before it goes off because I wake up. I'm ready to do it.
Right. All right. We're talking with Joe Collins. He is the host of the Joe Show Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 on Coco 94.3 on your FM radio dial right here in the Central Valley. In Fresno, you can hear him every day. All right, we're going to be back here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Today's program sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande. We are back in just a moment. At 20/20 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 20/20 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Ladies' Night was started in his honor. Barstools pulled themselves out for him. The only thing Chuck Norris is afraid of is her. Cheers is the most memorable bar in the world. You may not always watch comedy, but when you do, watch Cheers.
MeTV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
We're back here on the program, and our thanks to Dr. Thomas Casagrande for the sponsorship today. How's radio changed, Joe, in the last 52 years? What's the biggest difference besides, not using LPs anymore, obviously?
I think the hoop is getting smaller. I have friends who are really good. They've worked in major markets, and they can't get a job. A lot of it is because of the consultants of and the big companies. They'll have 7 stations in a market, and they might have the same person on 3 of those different stations using 3 different names. And to me, that's not radio. That's just we're filling the slot with so and so, and they can do this. And before, you used to have a different personality for each time slot on each station, so you would tune in faithfully to listen to your favorite guys.
How about now? What's going on in radio in Fresno? What do you see? I mean, there are a lot of changes at KMJ.
A lot of changes at KMJ.
Changes at Power Talk.
And you just, my friend John Oslin, they just bought the Wilkes properties. They bought the Fox and New Rock 104 and 105.5, I think it is. And so.
But I'm talking about changes like with on-air personalities.
There's less and less of them.
Here in Fresno, there's a lot going on, especially at KMJ and Power Talk. I don't know if you're up on what's going on.
Oh yeah, I have to be because I have an advertising agency, but it seems that fewer and fewer local personalities are filling the slots. A lot of it is syndication. A lot of it is national. It's coming in on satellite.
Yeah.
So they're not sitting here in Fresno. They might be in Bakersfield, or they might be in Washington D.C. or New York City or Dallas, or they had a guy, I think, was coming from Reno for a while, and then so some of it is satellite delivered, so they're not here in Fresno, but they're filling a Fresno slot.
Right, talking about Fresno politics and Fresno lifestyle.
Yeah.
But yet they don't live here.
Well, what was it? Inga Barks for a while? She was doing her show from Bakersfield, but she was talking about what was going on in Fresno.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So, You know, I'm not sure what's up with that, and I guess it's a cost-saving measure.
Oh, of course. You know, I mean, it's like, because the thing is, with deregulation and these big companies started consuming lots of the small independently owned stations, and after a while, you know, you got a big company that owns 600 or 700 radio stations, or a couple of thousand across the nation. How do you service that debt? So suddenly you got to start cutting expenses here and there so that you can service that huge debt.
How did you manage to stay in radio for nearly 50, well, this is your 52nd year you're starting now. How did you manage to stay in that long, Joe?
I stayed employable, and I stayed emotionally and physically available. And
what does that mean?
Well, you know, I suited up and I showed up. They say, we need you here at 8 o'clock for a sales meeting. I'd be there at 7:45.
Okay.
I also got into learning. That's the thing. I learned my business besides just being a disc jockey or an air personality. I learned the business of radio. I also was a producer and engineer for KFRC in San Francisco for 7 years. So I did behind-the-scenes production. I learned how to produce commercials. I bought my own equipment. I have a studio at home, and I produce audio for the video.
Yeah.
Because we do television here and on some of the other stations.
Sure.
And I produce all of that stuff at my own home studio.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about KFRC, because many of our viewers, you know, they watch all these old programs on MeTV, some of the oldies but goodies, dating back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Which is the stuff I grew up watching.
I know, and I grew up listening to KFRC.
I was
because
there.
I grew up in Sacramento.
Okay,
and
yeah.
We got KFRC all the time.
It was like KFRC was beating Croy and KROI and KXOA, which were the local Sacramento top 40 stations. KFRC was beating them in Sacramento.
Right, KFRC was huge.
Yeah.
So they were on the air for how long? How many years?
I went there in June of '66, and they started with the top 40. The Big 610 started around March of '66 with, they called it the Parade of Hits. And then it became the Big 610 in June.
Yeah.
And I was there with the original staff: Bobby Dale, Mike Phillips, Howard Clark, Royce Johnson, Steve O'Shea, Ed Mitchell. Ed Mitchell ended up working for me in Portland, Oregon in '73.
Wow.
And I was there till March of '73 when I left to go program a station in Portland, Oregon myself. And of course, after I left, about 5 or 6 months after I left, then Dr. Don Rose, who everybody, you know, he became huge, you know.
The guy was famous.
Yeah, he was
he?
very famous and a nice guy too. I met him at the reunion we had in 1991. And he has since passed away. But
how old was he when he passed?
Oh, I think he was maybe in his early 70s. Yeah.
Too young.
Yeah.
Too young. Hard lifestyle, maybe?
No, because he was a very clean, sober living guy. He was a family man.
I loved Dr. Don Rose. I used to listen to him.
He was the old. He did cornball, clean family. There would be little entendres, but he was never. He wasn't like Howard Stern, you know.
Yeah.
But he was. It was family radio.
Yeah, it was.
And it was family values. And so you could be driving the kids to school, and the kids would be in the back seat, and you could be listening to Dr. Don Rose and not have to turn it off.
Right. But all those other names you mentioned on KFRC, I recognize too, just from, you know, back in the 60s.
Bobby Dale was my mentor. I listened to him back in 1962 when I was 16. First heard him on KFWB in Los Angeles, and I realized, wow, that's what I want to do. I want to be on the radio.
You know, it's funny. Growing up in Sacramento, I listened to the Bay Area radio stations more than I did Sacramento.
KEWB was a great station out of Oakland. That's where Bobby worked. That's where Gary Owens came out of, was KEWB. The real Don Steele and Robert W. Morgan, they spent time at KEWB before they went to KHJ and set the standard for boss radio, what a boss jock should sound like.
Yeah. All right, talking to Joe Collins from Cocoa 94.3 here in the city of Fresno. He is the host of the Joe Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9. Hey, today's program is on tape, no phone calls. However, our program today is sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande. We're back with the show in just a moment. At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
The Ballad of Andy and Barney. Andy and Barney were lawmen, bravest you ever did see. Warned every crook in the record book to stay out of Mayberry. They were the law.
Yes, they were the law, and they didn't know fear.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I guess to sum it up, you could say there's 3 reasons why there's so little crime in Mayberry. There's Andy, and there's me, and baby makes 3.
Now on MeTV Fresno.
Dr. Thomas Casagrande, our sponsor today here on Connect With Me on MeTV Fresno. And the guest today is Joe Collins, the host of The Joe Show. You've been in broadcasting so many years. You also own your own ad agency.
Yeah,
Talk about that a little bit. What's that all about?
It was something I kind of stumbled into. It's like you keep reinventing yourself. And when I left, I was working at one of the local TV stations, and I left, and I had clients that still wanted me to handle their advertising, so I started my own advertising agency, and that was, 12 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, in 2003. And
okay.
So we're in 2015 now. Yes, that's 12 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I produce radio commercials. I've been the voice of the Emporium Western store down in Bakersfield for over a quarter of a century. A lot of these clients I've had since like the late 80s, early 90s, and I still have them. And it's the reward for servicing them was I still get to service them. And so that's the reward.
What do you do as an ad agency? What you're the head of your own agency.
I'm the head of my own.
What's your responsibility?
They have an advertising budget. I take their budget and we spend a certain amount on radio, a certain amount on television. If they want to do billboards, like for instance, Spinners Records, we're doing radio, television, newspapers, and billboards and electronic billboards.
Talk a little bit about Spinners. Because
Spinners he's a fellow vinyl junkie like myself.
Okay.
He's been collecting records for years, and we met.
What's his name?
Manny Massengale.
All right.
It goes by the name of the Spin Man.
Right.
And he and I met, and we clicked. And I started to say, "Have you ever heard this?" And I turned him on to records he'd never heard before, and vice versa. And so we have a love for old vinyl. And we put together a deal where I handle his advertising, and we started out just doing radio. Then we moved to television, and then he started doing concert promotions. So we're bringing this series here at the Warner's Theater. We started
When
last.
is that? What's the date on that?
The first show was on January the 17th. We've got a salute to Queen and David Bowie with Queen Nation and Space Oddity. And then in March, we have a salute to Earth, Wind, and Fire with Larry Dunn, who co-wrote all the Earth, Wind, and Fire stuff with Maurice White. And it's Larry Dunn and the Earth, Wind, and Fire band in a salute to Earth, Wind, and Fire. There's going to be a tribute to AC/DC and Led Zeppelin coming up, a Rolling Stones tribute. There's going to be a Spin Fest in the fall with about 5 different bands. It's going to be great.
Talk about the January 17th event now. Who's going to be? Is there anybody going to be at the Warner's Live?
It's all live.
Okay.
These people came into the tower last year. We're bringing them back. We're bringing them to the Warners. It's Queen Nation and a tribute to Queen.
And they're all live here.
And it's all live, and they're from Los Angeles. And then it's Space Oddity and a tribute to David Bowie. The guy's name is David Brighton.
Gotcha.
And the Warner's Theater seats 2,200 people. It's got the balcony. It's got the great classic organ that was been there since 1928, I believe.
Yep.
And they have put in a $250,000 sound system. So it sounds like the shows at the Forum that we used to go to in the 70s. And plus they're adding a $30,000 stage lighting system, too. So they've done it right.
All at the Warner's Theater?
All at the Warner's Theater.
What times that get underway on
That'll
the 17th?
be at 7:30 on the 17th. All our shows will start Saturday nights, and they'll all be starting at 7:30.
And how many shows throughout the year?
We've got 8 shows right now scheduled, and there could be more as we go along. But
For
right
Warner's,
now,
right?
we have 8 shows all at the Warners.
Yeah.
And you can get your tickets at Spinners Records down at 639 East Olive Avenue at the corner of Olive and Lucerne, or through the box office at the Warner's Theater.
Yeah. What do you make of, say, some of the mainstay radio personalities, guys like Howard Stern, Don Imus?
I love Imus. I love Imus. I think he's probably the greatest act on radio right now. Howard Stern's a great businessman. He's done an incredible job marketing himself. His humor isn't really up my alley. You know, I never went in for the sex and the drugs as far as the topics that I talked about. You know, I mean, I use humor in my job, but it's more my actions. Maybe I'm a little bit more of a brat, but I wasn't blue.
Imus has gone down a little bit since the racial comment.
Actually, he's on more stations now than he's ever been, more radio stations, and he's on
more so than before?
Yes.
Okay.
He's on like, God, 200-something stations now, plus he's on the Fox Business Network every morning.
Mm-hmm. So you think he's bigger now?
I think he's bigger now than he was before.
Yeah, and he came out.
And he's on WABC in New York. That isn't too shabby.
Right. He moved from WFAN to WABC.
Yeah, WABC is a huge station. I mean, it's a legacy station in New York City.
Yeah, no question about it. Who are some of the other radio guys that you admired growing up?
Oh man, of course Bobby Dale. Always liked Emperor Hudson on KRLA. He used to be at KEWB. I worked with Shadow Stevens in Los Angeles. B. Mitchell Reed, who I got to work with. B. Mitchell Reed was on KFWB and KRLA. KRLA in Pasadena was the station that I grew up listening to in San Luis Obispo that had some really big guys. Jim O'Neill, who used to do Shindig on Wednesday nights. Jimmy O'Neill came from KRLA. Sam Riddle was there. I used to listen to Wink Martindale. But like I said, Emperor Hudson, he was great. Dave Hull, the Hullabalooer. So I worked with Mike Phillips. I produced Mike Phillips, who passed away in 2006. I produced his show at KFRC. He went on to run K-Earth 101 for like 10 years in Los Angeles and did very well with it.
You know, getting back to Stern and Imus, I've watched the movie several times. You know, the life story of Howard Stern.
Yeah, the Body Parts.
Body Parts. Was the competition and the hatred between Stern and Imus real when they both worked at WNBC in New York?
Imus was a crotchety old man then, and now he's even a crotchetier old man.
Yeah.
So I think he resented this young kid coming in and
do they hate each other? Or do they dislike each other, or do they? I think
despise
they.
You know what? I think
do they resent each other?
I think they respect each other.
You do.
I just don't think they hang out. I don't know if they.
So you don't think there's a hatred there, or despise, or anything, huh? You think it's a respect?
I think it might be. There might be a little bit of contempt there, but there's a respect because they're both great businessmen.
Mm-hmm.
I also should have mentioned, the real Don Steele was also a great jock at KHJ.
Yeah.
Great job.
Well, they're both interesting and entertaining to listen to, both Imus and Stern. There's no question. Maybe two of the most entertaining radio personalities in history. No question about it.
But I prefer Imus for the two. Imus is more for my taste. You know?
Right.
Plus, he's very well read, very intelligent.
Yeah, very intelligent guy. So is Howard Stern.
Stern is intelligent, but he goes for the lower denominator. Yeah.
The glitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, the glitz and glamour more so than I. All right, Joe, we're out of time, but we ask you to come back if you can.
I would love to.
At some point.
It's been an honor.
All right,
Thank
Joe
you.
Collins, thank you. That's Joe Collins, our guest today here on the first half hour. Second guest coming up. Joe is the host of the Joe Show, KOCO 94.3, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9. Our sponsorship today is Dr. Thomas Casagrande of 2020 Optometrics. Back in just a moment. At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country, the only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2. almost time.
Now we'll find out once and for all about Clark Kent, Superman.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a TV show.
Yes, but who is he? What's his name?
He's Superman.
Golly, Clark, won't that be wonderful seeing Superman?
Fighting a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and television the MeTV way.
No one can do the things that Superman does.
The Adventures of Superman.
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Attention all units. We have reports of 2 motorcycle cops protecting California's highways.
That's for us, good buddy.
The Men of Chips are on MeTV.
Hi, I'm John Baker. I'm John Baker. He's Officer Baker.
He's the blonde one.
Hi there.
Officer Poncherello, man.
Frank Poncherello.
Well, I'm Frank Poncherello.
And he's the one who's Eric Estrada.
There's no way I wouldn't remember a name like that.
Catch the blonde one and the one who's Eric Estrada on
Now
Chips.
on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
From a top-secret location, it's the Spies Who Love Me, bringing together MeTV's top super spies to fight evil at a memorable moment's notice. They're daring.
That's right.
Brave.
Now what are we gonna do?
The best we can.
Suave.
Does that apply to me, Oscar?
Possibly.
And smart.
The old finger in the gun trick.
Maxwell Smart.
MeTV Fresno, Channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
We're back here on the program, on the air, off the presses on this day. Sorry, no phone calls because it is a tape program. You know, we're live every single day, Monday through Friday, but today is a special broadcast on the air, off the presses. 2 guests in the house. Today's program sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande, 20/20 optometrics out there at Shaw and Blackstone. So glad to have him along. Now we're going to get into our second guest here on MeTV. Hey, remember the old Met building downtown Fresno? Yeah, the city owned that at one time. It paid off that $15 million debt or whatever the heck it was. Let's roll the videotape. I'll show you what I'm talking about, my friends. Since 2012, the place has been occupied by CMAC. That stands for Community Media Access Collaborative. Boy, that's a mouthful. A nonprofit organization, a good one too, dedicated to giving Central Valley viewers access to local programming such as talk shows like this one and political shows including debates. Recently, CMAC completed a $300,000 renovation of that 3rd floor, more space allowing for the creation of an editing lab, a conference room, a private edit bays, and a lot more office space. As many of you know, CMAC opened just a couple of years ago, back in 2012, and it caters to individuals, it caters to students, educators, nonprofits, and government agencies in both Fresno and Clovis. It has 3 different channels it broadcasts on. Construction for the new addition began last summer, was completed this past fall. The $1 million cost of the studio was paid back in 2012 with money provided through the local cable providers. Live in our studio right now is Jerry Lee, the executive director of CMAC since the beginning. He was a guest here back in 2012. He's back again the first time. He's only been a guest here twice. It seems like more than that. Anyway, he's going to be here not to take your phone calls because we're on tape, but we're going to be back to talk to Jerry about the expansion and much more going on with CMAC these days. Our program today sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator, the first compact electric range. Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Hey, At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today. Oh my goodness, you're watching us on Comcast Channel 187, 43.6, 13.1. You can watch Jerry Lee on what channels?
Oh.
What channels for CMAC?
Any channel you want to watch us.
Just pick one, right?
You pick one. You pick one.
Jerry, good to see you. Happy New Year.
Good to see you, John. And the same to you, my friend. You and I go back way too far. You know
I
that.
know. What was that, KMPH Radio at one time?
Oh, yeah, at one time.
Oh,
back in the dark ages.
That was the 90s. That was the dark ages.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, we got some videotape, not sound per se, but do we have other video that doesn't have sound? You know, like the facilities. What's going on over there at CMAC? 'Cause you guys have done a huge expansion here.
It's just amazing. You said $300,000, up almost $400,000.
Oh, I was off by just a mere penny or two.
Mere $100,000.
Who cares?
But it is.
What's this here? A control room? Or?
Yeah, that's our production control.
Mm-hmm.
And we've added a great deal of equipment to the. We're constantly adding equipment. One of the things that we're determined to do is to stay current all the time.
What room is that?
That's the training area. That's the big room on the second floor where we hold training classes, and we have classes that teach editing. We have classes that teach studio production. That's an inside view of the production studio. Production, not studio, but control room. And we have classes that teach field production. We have classes that teach writing, scripting. We have classes that teach audio. It's just an amazing. I have the best staff in the world. I say that all the time. But I do. I have the finest staff. Got to handpick them. They're all dedicated to what we're doing. Our membership is, the last I looked a couple of days ago, we were at 478 members.
What were you when you started back in 2012?
12 members who were the board.
Members?
It was the board. The board of directors were members, and that was it.
Okay, so each member pays like a monthly fee, right?
No. Pay,
how does it
an
work?
Annual fee. It's horribly expensive. It's a whole $50 a year, and that covers everything. It covers all of the training. That covers all of the use of our facilities, all of the use of our professional field equipment that our members check out and take out into the field to produce.
So let me get this straight now, and we've talked about this before, but so let's say I want to become a member of CMAC. I pay my $50 annual fee, and I can come in and rent equipment for whatever. And
we
work
don't
on
rent it. You just check it out.
I check it out.
It's like the library.
I borrow it. It's like having a library card.
Absolutely. There's no additional fees after that.
But how do you, here's the question that I have, is I'm always thinking, maybe it's because of my news background, and I'm always thinking the worst first, okay? The worst first, that's just in my nature. What happens if you don't return that? What if some nut job comes in there and says, I paid my annual fee, I'm going to take off with this $250,000 camera.
Well, they're not that expensive, fortunately. They're not cheap either. We have never had a problem.
Okay.
We've never, ever had a problem. Virtually everybody that comes in and becomes a member and commits realizes what a wonderful opportunity they have, and they will protect that opportunity completely.
Yeah, because it really is, it's almost like handing you an opportunity for $50 a year. If you want to learn how to edit, if you want to learn how to write, if you want to learn how to become a videographer, CMAC's the place, right?
Right. If you're a student at any level, if you have a student card, it's $25 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is, and I want to get into, I got to take a break, but this is high-tech equipment. It's not run-of-the-mill stuff. It's first-rate stuff that's out there. It's the latest that's on the market. We're going to be back here on Connect with Me, a special tape program sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande of 20/20 Optometrics. At 20/20 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 20/20 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator. The first compact electric range. Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
CMAC empowers the members of the community to tell their story by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use video equipment, how to use the facilities we have to offer. CMAC is an organization that is devoted to allowing people to tell their stories. 99% of those organizations and individuals that have stories to tell have never been able to do it because they couldn't afford to. Now they can. CMAC empowers members of the community by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use all the wonderful equipment that we have available for them. And then once they've learned, using that equipment to create their own content.
The great thing about once someone has filmed and edited their video is that it is aired via Comcast and other channels, and this gives Arte Americas the opportunity to connect with outlying communities, people who may not have a chance to discover us any other way.
To see something that you've actually produced on a channel is fun for the first time, especially if you spent a lot of time with it. And it does take time to learn the programs.
Because you hear it all the time as a producer, we can help get you out there. But this is the real deal. There is no gimmicks, there are no type of games that they play. You produce the content, you follow the guidelines, it will air to the community and be an inspiration to the community.
So you host local programs like this one here on CMAC?
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Talk about some of those programs.
Well, the last gentleman you saw in there, Don Franklin, is just an amazing individual. You saw just a snippet there of some animation. He's a CMAC member. He was convinced that there was nothing on television that he wanted his children to watch. And so he came in and learned how to do animation. Created an animated series called Welcome to Fresburg. And I submitted one of his shows to the National ACM, which is all 1,500 PEGs facilities around the country, most of them bigger than us. And he won Best Children's Program nationally, over 10,000 entries.
Wow, and his is an animated program?
Animated program. It's just amazing.
Original programming. So what are some of the other programs that you carry there, like political debates?
Oh, we do. Yeah. We have three channels. We have a channel for public access. That's where our members come in and produce whatever they want to produce. We can't tell them what to produce.
Is there anything taboo?
No.
Anything off the table?
No, as long as it meets FCC guidelines.
Okay.
For cable, not for over the air.
Okay.
But we've never had a problem, never had an issue at all. And then we have an education channel where we get educational programming from all over, including Fresno State, Fresno City College, the high schools, Fresno County Office of Education. And then we have our government channel. We provide all of the services to the city of Fresno and to the city of Clovis, depending upon what they want to do. But
When you
Fresno,
say services, are you talking about like city council meetings?
city council meetings, the ones you see, we carry all of them live, and then we re-air them. And it's our people that are actually producing them.
That's either, I don't want to misspeak, I think that's like Comcast 96 or 98 or one of those.
60.
Or 198 or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's 60. I can't, you know, I'm having
But you'll find it.
having a
Just check
senior
your-
moment.
Anyway, all right, and, don't worry about it, because we're on Comcast channel
94.
Is it 94?
94, 96, 97. That's where
Okay,
we
so that's where you can watch it, because we're on 187 on Comcast.
Yeah.
So you have to go a little higher on the dial, but now where, okay, I talked about the state-of-the-art equipment. I mean, your equipment is better than any television station in town, bar none. I've been over to CMAC, I've seen it. Where do you get the money to pay for that kind of equipment?
It comes from
the government?
In
Grants?
2006, the federal government passed an ordinance, the DIVCA bill, passed a bill, the DIVCA bill. And please don't ask me what that acronym is, because I will.
I was going to
now,
ask
don't.
you.
I'll
Okay,
butcher
I
it.
won't.
Don't do that.
I won't.
Digital and
Whatever.
Cable Act.
Thank you.
Yes. But, and then the state of California emulated that in the legislature. And what that does is that provides municipalities the opportunity to get an additional 1% of gross from the cable companies that operate within their jurisdiction, set aside strictly for public education and government access.
And that's what this is, basically. It's education.
It is.
It really
indeed.
is the education of a lot of these people. And I do want to ask you about your mobile production van, $500,000 unit. Well, talk about that.
It is so beautiful. It just makes you cry. I cry every time I see it because I know what it costs. The capability that machine has is the same as ESPN. It really is. And we train, for instance, Sunnyside High School students. We train like 21 of them in the use of this production van. And it has slow-mo, it has Chiron graphics, 2-channel Chiron graphics, which means nothing to you, but it's very nice. It has everything that an ESPN truck has.
So with this van, you could go live from anywhere in the country and broadcast a Monday night football game if you wanted to from this van.
Well, we could. We don't have as many, we don't have 28 cameras like they have.
No, but I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, and we did. The Sunnyside students broadcast some rugby matches and then 3 live high school football games
from this van
out of the Sunnyside Stadium, live.
This
past year, and those kids just did an amazing job. You talk about job training.
Yeah.
Juniors, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school that now know the ins and outs of a television production out of a mobile production van. It's incredible.
Yeah, see, you know, growing up and wanting to be a part of the business, I learned live in a television station, but I never had access to equipment like this. State of the art. I mean, nobody did back in those days.
No.
And you know, back in my day, we had unions, and you couldn't touch certain equipment when I was breaking in. Right. No union over there. You can check out the equipment. You can touch anything you want.
Absolutely.
Right?
All you have to do is learn what you're doing before you pick it up.
Right. Another piece of videotape here that we want to roll. It is on the orientation side, I believe, and let's roll that now.
CMAC is an outlet for anyone who wants to get their message or their skills or their artwork or whatever it is out into the community. It's a professional atmosphere where you can get the help that you need to be able to produce your program, and as a result, Fresno gets so much more to see and find out about.
I mean, when I see the smiles when people come through on orientation, or when they're hanging out in class, or seeing their projects being on the big screen in the lobby or on TV, That's magic. I mean, it's one thing to hope to do something, but it's another thing to help people fulfill and be that servant in the community. And that's what CMAC is. CMAC serves to help fulfill people's dreams.
Great opportunity.
I
huh?
smile
Yeah.
every time I see that. It's
Yeah.
just incredible.
Hey, we got the channels, and I believe these are Comcast, right? Channels 94,
Yeah,
96,
96,
and
97.
97. We got that squared away. Time to take a break here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Today's program sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande, 2020 Optometrics. Jerry Lee is our guest from CMAC. Back in a moment.
Too much fun.
Frigidaire. It means the first refrigerator. It means a history of innovations that help make your home life better. And now we introduce the new Frigidaire French door refrigerator with over 100 ways to organize for maximum flexibility. Built with adjustable flip up and slide under shelving and stackable crisper drawers. It's the refrigerator that flexes to fit all, no matter what your day will bring. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Euronews, most watched news channel in Europe.
Back here on the program, Thomas Casagrande, our sponsor today. Jerry Lee is our guest here the second half hour of the program from CMAC. And over there talking about just producing so many programs. So this coming year, or this year in 2015 now that we're in, you're producing how many shows? You got a basketball game at City College.
Several
games. Broadcast live?
Broadcast live, and using Fresno State students.
Okay. And last year you had a Christmas concert.
We've
bit
done
about
that several times, but this last year, Fresno Grand Opera Chorus, which is one of the finest choruses anywhere, does an annual Christmas concert at the First Congregational Church, the Big Red Church. And we took the van out and recorded it. We have the finest microphones. You can't even, we used $35,000 in microphones to record that. No, not on the chorus. We do have lav mics for things like we're doing, but
you have boom mics. You have any kind of microphone that's manufactured under the sun,
and some that are just total state of the art.
Yeah.
And the concert came out so well that Valley PBS asked if they could re-air the concert, and they did twice just before Christmas. So.
Hey, everything that you produce or anybody produces at CMAC, it goes out on the web. You have your own YouTube channel?
Yep.
So anybody can see it around the globe.
Right. And if they just go to our website, which is cmac.tv, they can watch everything live. They can watch every program that we have video on demand. And then, of course, we have our YouTube channel as well. So
yeah, amazing. Hey, I want to roll a piece of videotape from one of the programs that's aired on 94, 96, and 97 on Comcast and produced by CMAC. Take a look and a listen.
Welcome to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs program featuring conversations about life in the central San Joaquin Valley. This program is brought to you in partnership between KFSR 90.7 FM and CMAC Fresno. I'm your host, Sevag Tatiosian. Today we have Jan Pearson. She is the Dean of the Law School, San Joaquin College of Law. Now, for the record, I must say that I attended San Joaquin College of Law, and I will tell you, I enjoyed the experience. So welcome, Dean.
Glad to be here. Glad to see you.
Yes. You know, I love seeing you too. I do, because I remember torts class when I see you, and I remember the law school. Are you still teaching, by the way?
I am not.
Okay.
Christine Goodrich has taken over teaching torts.
And I had her for a teacher as well in one of my classes. So, you know, I've been gone for a while. So how are things going at the law school?
Well, they're going very well. They're very, very busy.
And that program called what? Spotlight?
Yeah, Spotlight. Fresno Spotlight.
Fresno Spotlight, and that airs.
Sivog is doing it. It airs basically weekly. Sometimes, because he's a very busy guy, sometimes he can't always get into the studio, and then we'll rerun a show.
Right.
But it's basically a weekly show.
Hey, you're talking about the acoustics in your studio.
In the main studio.
Yeah, the main studio. What about it?
I hired when we were designing this and building out the original studio, I hired the same acoustics engineer that designed the Segoyan Theater at Clovis North, which is perfection. I am, 40 some years in broadcasting, watching music shows out of local television studios is like listening to somebody singing through a tin can and a piece of string.
Tell me about it.
And I decided that we were going to have a facility that musicians would be proud to come in. And it's acoustically perfect.
Yeah, it really is. And you have a lot of bands come in
Have a lot of bands, choruses, groups like that, orchestras come in.
Hey, so this expansion, was I correct? Is it the third floor?
Third floor.
You have 3 floors now.
No, we have 2 floors. The first floor is not conducive to broadcasting.
Okay. So what's on the second floor?
Second floor is our main studio.
That's your main studio.
And with the teaching facilities and everything.
And then your third floor is for orientation and all that kind of stuff.
Third floor actually is
for editing.
Is editing, and the board. I mean, you need to see it. Our boardroom also doubles as an editing classroom, and you walk in there, and we have a 25-foot table that they put together like a bridge, and on there are 20 Apple Macs sitting. Boom, 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 boom.
It's amazing.
And you push a button and a screen drops down with high-definition video to add to what we do.
So if you want to learn how to edit video on a Mac, just go in there.
You bet.
Become a member, and you're in like Flynn. They'll
Absolutely.
Teach you. All right. Those classes are what, once a week or?
We have, we have every class that we offer at least once a month.
Yeah.
And some of them fill up rather rapidly. Some of them don't. We have classes in just every phase of media.
How did you get the word out so fast about CMAC?
We didn't. And that
Really?
was by design. I did not want to overwhelm my staff and not give them the opportunity to really work closely with our members. So now we are starting to really promote. And now, our membership could easily, I think, double in the next 2 or 3 years.
Wow, so you're talking about going from 400 and something to nearly 1,000?
Close
perhaps?
to it, I think we will.
Yeah, and do you still find people that are not familiar with CMAC?
Oh, all the time.
When you tell them, hey, we're located in the old Met building, they say, oh, I remember that building, the old Met. They know where that is.
They do know where that is, and that's been an advantage to us. And we have lots of free parking. Which downtown is not an easy thing to come by, but we have a lot of that, and we're there to serve. Nonprofits come in. There are several thousand nonprofits in this area. How many can you count on your hands?
Right.
Maybe 10. And because they've never had the opportunity to promote themselves, it's too expensive. Now they can.
See, and this is what's amazing. You have Fresno State students coming over and producing programs
Yes,
over
we
there.
do.
So if you're a young broadcaster or wanting to get in the business, if you're still in high school and watching us right now, contact Jerry Lee at where? What number?
559, obviously, 266. 2600.
Okay, and then they sign up and they can start the ball rolling.
They can. The best way to do it, though, is to not call, is to go to our website, cmac.tv, and all the information is there about everything we do, all of our classes, how to get involved. They can even become a member right there on the website.
Whatever aspect of the business you're really encouraging yourself to become a part of, whether it's behind the camera, in front of the camera, CMAC is the place to go. Jerry Lee, good to see you. Happy New Year.
Good to see you, John.
Thank
Same
you.
to you.
Good luck over there at CMAC, man.
Well,
I feel like
thank
we're partners over there.
We are. You need to come over and see the new third floor, though.
I will.
It's amazing.
I'll call you. Jerry Lee was our guest today. Our thanks to him and Happy New Year. That's going to do it for us today. And thanks to Dr. Thomas Casagrande for his sponsorship. Back with another edition tomorrow here on MeTV Fresno. Until 11:06 to do this promo, so they record it. It's automated, so we can't go past the time. Okay. Christina's Market tomorrow, right? Okay. Is that monitor still on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hi, I'm John Mallows. Coming up tomorrow morning live at 10 o'clock right here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. We'll have the owner of Christina's Natural Food Market. That's right, over there on Blackstone, beyond Herndon, just north of Herndon. What's wrong?
Nowhere near Blackstone. It's in Barstow, first in Barstow. Christina's, where I would shoot the B-roll, it's on Barstow. It's catty corner from Uber High.
Are you sure? Okay.
It's at our median market in the same parking lot.
All right, we'll try it again. Sorry, my friends. I'm planning on going over there today, so it's a good thing I. Okay.
Five, four, three, two.
Hi, I'm John Mallows. Try it again. Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm John Mallows. Coming up tomorrow morning live at 10 o'clock here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. We'll have the owner of Christina's Natural Food Market here in Fresno. Remember, every Monday through Friday, you can watch us live at 10 o'clock, Comcast 187, 43.6, and 13.1. The replay comes later in the afternoon, 2 o'clock on 13.6, U2, and 8 o'clock on 13.5 Biz TV. We'll see you live tomorrow morning for Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Yeah. It's better to be early than be cut off.